G'day. My name's Jeff Robinson, and I'm an Irish Australian green building consultant. Yep, I won the lottery in life. I have the handsome good looks and charm of an Irishman. I get to live in the world's most livable city. And I save the planet every day. Having 40 shades of green in the Irish countryside, the Irish were the original greenies. In fact, we're so committed to the colour that on our national holiday, St. Patrick's Day, we have the whole world wearing green. I'm getting pissed. So, the thing about the Irish is, we don't take ourselves too seriously, and we love to curse. The Irish, well, that language is just like breathing. It's like an intake of breath. I love the Irish word feck. The Irish use feck like punctuation, like an intake of breath on a long sentence. Like, I'll give you an example. The feckin' Irish rugby team, they haven't got a feckin' clue. They couldn't score a feckin' try if they feckin' tried. There is so much of the Irish in the Australian character. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We like to take the piss out of ourselves. You know, when it comes down to it, we're egalitarian, we're fair. Well, the thing about the Irish is, we've got a rather flexible attitude to laws. So, you know, sure, I was only a little bit over your honour. Only a little bit over. Swerve down the road. Anyway, being an Irish Australian green building consultant, I really try to reduce waste. And I try and recycle. But here's the thing. The Irish are really wasteful. We absolutely are. What we're wasteful with is words. We never use one word when 10 will do. Now, I think we could learn an awful lot from the Australians. They're very word efficient. Take the Australian greeting, g'day. One word. To the point, very efficient. Whereas an Irish greeting might go something like, oh, soft day, thank God, top in the morning to you, is it well you are? 15 words, very, very inefficient. Whereas, well, I'll give you another example. Okay, so if you go along to an Irish football or rugby match, you'll often hear the song Molly Malone being sung. It's a song about a dead Irish fishmonger. And it goes something like this. As she wheeled her wheelbarrow through streets broad and narrow, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone. And you can actually join in, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. 31 words, absolutely nothing to do with football, very inefficient. So you go along to an Australian sporting event, and you know, you hear the Aussies calling out, Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. 6 words, very efficient. But I tell you, there's one thing that the Australians could learn from the Irish. And that's how to insulate your homes sustainably. So, as NIINA said earlier on, Australian homes are like glorified feckin' tents. I will never forget the first summer or winter that I came to Australia. It was about 20 years ago, and I had to go and work up in Sydney. And I was staying in this house, and there were gaps everywhere in the walls. There was no insulation and no heating, because guess what? In Sydney, it doesn't get cold. Right, it gets cold. It was absolutely bloody freezing. And yet, it could all be so very, very different if Australian consumers knew to go and ask builders to prove that their houses were actually well insulated and airtight. Instead, what they do is we're world experts on European appliances and granite benches. All the useful feckin' stuff, nothing to do with useful things like airtightness and insulation. So I'm starting a personal campaign. It's going to be a mass movement. And what I want to do is I want to go and convince Australian politicians to change the building code of Australia to go and make it mandatory for builders to prove to the people they're building the buildings for that they're airtight and well insulated. And I've thought up a catchy name for it. It's called Insulate My Fecking Home, You Feckers. Sort of a ring to it. So, what I'd like to do, I'd like you to be my first disciples, okay? You up for it? Yeah? Okay. So what we're going to go and do is we're going to go and use just a little phrase I've come with, okay? It goes, legislate to insulate, stop the gaps. Okay, so, legislate to insulate, stop the gaps. Legislate to insulate, stop the gaps. Well done, okay. So next time there's an election and they come round to your door and they ask you for your vote, what are you going to say? Legislate to insulate, stop the gaps. Thank you and good night.